I'm going to be ranking the best centers in NBA 2K23. My team, we have a tier list here ranking from S that goes all the way down to D tier, and we have about 25 of the best centers in my team. But guys, let me know in the comment section down below right now, who are some of your guys' favorite centers in my team, and let me know what you guys would change about my tier list. But looking at the first center here is going to be Amethyst Jared Allen. I would say he's probably going to be in that B tier category. He's a 6'10" center with a 7'5" wingspan. He is going to give you some good all-around defense, 92 interior defense, 90 block, with an 80 steal, 79 lateral quickness, and a 79 perimeter. He's also great at finishing around the basket, having a 90 driving dunk, 90 standing dunk, also having a 91 three ball with an 85 mid-range. So he can knock down threes at a very high level, play some good all-around defense, and overall, I think he's going to be a B tier center. Now, talking about Pink Diamond Boogie Cousins, I would say he's probably going to be in the A tier spot. I mean, he is a really good center, but I'm not exactly sure if he's going to be in the S tier category, which would be my top 5 centers in the game. So looking at Boogie Cousins here, though, he's 6'10" with a 7'5" wingspan. I mean, the only flaw about this card is going to be his defense. I mean, these defensive stats definitely aren't the best, but at least he does have 96 strength, has a really good player model, and does weigh 270 pounds. So for me, I feel like his defensive stats, yes, they do look really bad, and same thing with his badges as well. He doesn't look to be that great of a defender, but I have noticed in game, after using this card for a decent amount, he's really not that bad defensively, and obviously going to be a really good offensive card, having the MJ dribble style, a really good jump shot, able to knock down threes, and just overall be one of the best offensive centers in the game. So I think for that reason, Boogie Cousins definitely deserves to be in the A tier category. Now, Galaxy Anthony Davis is definitely an interesting one. I don't think he's a top 5 center, but I do still think he's going to be somewhere in the A tier category. He's obviously a lot better at the power forward spot, only being 6'10", just a tiny bit undersized for the center position, but overall, I think he's going to be in the A tier category. Now, another Laker player is going to be Galaxy Shaq, and I do think Shaq's going to be in the S tier category. I do think he's a top 5 center. He's 7'1" with a 7'7" wingspan. I will say off the bat, if you know how to use inside big centers that can't shoot, obviously Shaq only has a 26 3 ball, 50 mid-range. If you're good with using these type of centers because you know how to use them on the inside, you know how to take advantage of the post, that's when you want to use a guy like Shaq, because this card is first off an amazing defender, like one of the best center defenders in the game. He's going to be super fast for a Shaq card who weighs 325 pounds. He's super fast, and he's got some great dribble animations as well. Like, he can take a lot of centers off the dribble. Like, he just feels so fast with the ball in his hands. And I will say, even though I don't think he's the best center in my team, because I'm not the biggest fan of inside bigs, I like my big man to be able to shoot the ball. Like, I want my center like a guy like Kristaps, we'll talk about later, a guy that can really stretch with the floor. But what I will say is this Shaq card is easily the most fun center to use in my team right now. Not necessarily because he's the best, but just he's the most fun in my opinion. Now, talking about Galaxy Patrick Ewing, I would honestly say he's going to be in the C tier category. This card does not have a good jump shot, so he really can't shoot threes, and I'm really not the biggest fan of the card otherwise. So I'd say for me, probably going to be in that C tier category. Pink Diamond Hakeem Olajuwon, easily going to be in the A tier category. He might honestly be an S tier. I'll probably move him up to S tier later in the video. We'll just have to see what the top 5 centers look like, but Hakeem Olajuwon obviously going to be one of the best centers. And then talking about Pink Diamond D-Rob, I do think he's the best center in my team, but like I said, if you know how to use a guy like Shaq and you know how to really take advantage of what Shaq is good at, then he potentially could be the best center in the game. But I think David Robinson is, for most people, the best center in the game right now. He's 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan. He can knock down the 3 ball at a very high level, 87 3 ball, 94 mid-range, and has one of the best big man jump shots. So that right off the rip makes him a really good center. And then he's going to be super fast, 87 speed, 87 acceleration, and just like guys like Shaq and some other really good centers we'll talk about, he is obviously going to be a great defender. So for me, if you're comparing him to a guy like Shaq, they're going to be about the same speed. I would say Shaq feels a little bit faster defensively. It's a really close debate. I think maybe Shaq is a tiny bit better defender, but for me, I think D-Rob is a lot better on the offensive end because of the fact that he can stretch the floor and obviously be still a really good finisher around the basket, having an 85 driving dunk, 85 standing dunk. So for me, Pink Diamond D-Rob going to be the best center in my team right now. Pink Diamond Jaren Jackson Jr., I do think is probably better at the power forward spot. Still going to be a really good defensive center, being really tall, 6'11", having a really good wingspan and a really good defensive stats as well. I think he's got like a 98 block. So Jaren Jackson Jr., I do think is going to be in the B tier category. Now, talking about Pink Diamond Joel Embiid, I think he's probably going to be in C tier. Really not the biggest fan of this card. He does have an okay jump shot, and he is going to be a good interior tier defender, but he is a tiny bit slow for the center spot. I think him and a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr. are very, very close, but for me, I do prefer Jaren at the center position. Pink Diamond KG, I think, is also going to be in the B tier category, just like a guy like Anthony Davis. I think he's a little bit undersized for the center spot right now, not necessarily because of his height, because he is technically taller than a guy like Boogie Cousins, but for whatever reason, in my opinion, this card just plays so much better at the power forward spot. I don't know if it's because of his player model or some sort of stats, but his card is a really good defender, and he's obviously still going to be a really good center. For me, probably the best center in B tier right now, but I just do think there's a ton of better centers in my team right now, and if you want to run a guy like KG, I would just say run him at the power forward position. Now, talking about Diamond Kristaps, I think he's also going to be in the A tier category, and definitely could be moved up to S tier later in the video. We'll just have to see what the other centers look like, but Kristaps, like I was saying earlier, is probably the best pick and pop big man in the game right now. D-Rob is definitely close, but I do like Kristaps' jump shot a little bit more, and does have a higher 3-ball and better shooting badges. But overall, Kristaps a really, really good center. Now, talking about Pink Diamond Brook Lopez, I would say he's probably going to be in the B tier category. Really good center, just pretty average all around. He's a great defender, has a good jump shot, and not going to be the fastest on the court, but overall, I think Brook Lopez at B tier center. Another B tier center here is going to be the Diamond Evan Mobley. Now, this card, once again, just like a guy like Jaren Jackson Jr., I do think is better at the power forward position. Even though he's 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan, his player model really isn't the best for the center spot. He does kind of have that skinnier player build like a guy like Jonathan Isaac and those kind of skinnier player models, which is fine at the power forward position. But if you have a guy like Mobley, yes, his defensive stats and badges are going to be really, really nice, and he's 7 foot with a 7'4" wingspan. But if you match a guy like Shaq or D-Rob, who have really good player models and have really good strength as well, Mobley's strength is decent at 80, but it could definitely be a lot higher. So I think if you match a guy like Shaq or D-Rob at the center position, you are definitely going to get matched down low by a guy like Shaq or D-Rob. So in my opinion, I think Mobley's still going to be in the B tier category, but at the power forward position, going to be a lot better. Pink Diamond Dwight Howard easily going to be in the A tier category. I do also think he's better at the power forward spot, but still going to be a really good center as well. All around great defender, dunks on everybody, and is glitch, so he does have a 91 3-ball. So overall, I think Dwight Howard going to be in the A tier category. Now, Moses Malone, I wasn't really the ever biggest fan of this card. I would say he's probably going to be in the C tier category. Nothing too crazy about Moses to talk about. He's a good defender, only having a 63 ball is definitely a little bit low. So I'd say for me, Moses Malone going to be in the C tier category. Now, Dark Matter Tim Duncan, I think is easily going to be in the S tier category. And I don't think it's crazy to say that Tim Duncan is actually a better center than he is power forward. He's 6'11" with a 7'2" wingspan. He's got a great player model and some amazing defensive stats: 98 interior defense, 98 block, 86 steal, 87 lateral quickness, 87 perimeter. Yes, he only does have a 79 3-ball, which may be a little bit low because he doesn't have the greatest of jump shots, but overall can still knock down the 3-ball at a decently high level. But for the defense he provides you, he's going to be decently fast. He's got 20 Hall of Fame badges. I think he's easily going to be a top 5 center in the game alongside guys like Shaq and D-Rob. Now, Pink Diamond Ralph Sampson, I think is actually pretty solid. I would say he's going to be in the B tier category. Now, I will say I haven't used this card at all, so I can't give a completely fair judgment on him. He is 7'4" with a 7'8" wingspan. He is definitely going to be slow and only does have a 72 3-ball, and defensive stats are going to be good on the interior, but I just think this card's, decent all around, but not going to be anything too crazy. So I would say he's going to be in that B tier category. Now, I will say, guys, right off the rip, I did notice I actually forgot to put somebody on the list, and that is going to be this Clint Capella card, the Amethyst that does get evoed up to a diamond. He's a 6'10" center with a 7'3" wingspan, and he's actually a really, really good center. And I would say he's probably going to be at least in the A tier category, maybe even a top 5 center. So I will say right away, I'll mention it again at the end of the video just to remind you guys, but Clint Capella definitely deserves to be in this list. I just completely forgot to put him on this list. So I'd say at least A tier and maybe S tier category, a really good overall center. But looking at the next guy here on the tier list is going to be Pink Diamond Sabonis. I don't know if I want to go B tier. I think I will give him B tier alongside a guy like Big Z. They're obviously going to be very similar centers, both 7'3" with a 7'6" wingspan, and both going to be super slow, only having around 40 speed, but they can both shoot the 3-ball and going to be very, very similar centers, and both going to be in that B tier category. Now, Taco Fall is a very interesting one because this card is actually super, super glitchy on the court. I mean, if you take a look at his stats, he's going to be 7'6" with an 8'2" wingspan. So, I mean, this card is absolutely insane for the center position. Now, he does only have 39 speed, 39 acceleration, so he's going to get blown by a lot of the times. But on the offensive end, he's going to be pretty much a free bucket because who's guarding a 7'6" Taco with an 8'2" wingspan? wingspan. So I think for the reason that he's going to be pretty much unstoppable in the offensive end, I think he's got to go somewhere in the B tier category. I wouldn't go as far as to say he's an A tier center, but I think he definitely deserves to be at least in that B tier spot. Now, Pink Diamond Cream easily going to be in the S tier category. I do think right now he's the second best center in the game. Still very good overall. Yes, only a 63 ball, but does have a really good jump shot. He can knock down threes at a very high level. Now, looking at Diamond Tyson Chandler, this is actually a very interesting card because I'm really debating going A tier, but I think I'm going to put him in the high B tier category. But I don't know, man. This Tyson Chandler card, I definitely think could be somewhere in this A tier category, because after he does get evoed up from an amethyst to a diamond, he actually becomes a really good center because he's 7'1" with a 7'3" wingspan, and he does become really elite. But I think I'm gonna have to go high B tier, but very close to the A tier category. Pink Diamond Wilt really isn't that good. I'm gonna throw him in the C tier spot alongside a guy like Yao Ming, and then Zubac gonna be in the D tier category. So let me know in the comment section down below, out of all of these centers in A tier, which one would you guys move up into the S tier category? And like I do want to mention once again, if you guys maybe skip through the video, or maybe you're just, watching it, or maybe, someone else is listening, right? I just want to let you guys know, Clint Capella, I did forget to put on this list. So if you guys are looking at the final tier list and thinking, where's Clint Capella? I do want to say I did forget him, and you'd most likely be in the A tier category. And honestly, I think for my last spot in S tier, it would be between Hakeem Olajuwon Kristaps and Clint Capella. I think for me personally, in my playstyle, I would lean towards a guy like Kristaps, so I'd put him in the S tier category, I should say. But Clint Capella definitely deserves that A tier spot, and maybe you could even argue a top 5 center in the game. But let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about my center cards tier list, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.